Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed discussion on various national and international issues. So today we're going to talk about the issue of increasing incidence of heart attack or heart diseases amongst the younger population. Now, heart attack and other cardiovascular diseases have remained a major health concern around the world for a long time, but it is only recently that a rising number of cardiovascular problems amongst the younger population are being diagnosed and reported. According to experts, there are many factors at play as far as heart attacks are concerned, from chronic health issues like diabetes, blood pressure, to lifestyle factors like drinking, smoking, and unhealthy diet combined with excessive stress that ails the heart and makes it susceptible to cardiac issues. So what are the reasons behind this spike in the incidence of sudden cardiac arrest or SCA amongst youngsters, and what needs to be done to tackle this particular health challenge? For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with, we have with us in the studio today Dr. Shikha Sharma. She is a senior nutritionist and health expert. Welcome, Dr. Sharma, for this particular show in our studios. We're also joined by Mr. Ranjan Ghosh. He's a fitness expert. Also runs a well-known gym for the fitness enthusiasts. We're also joined by Dr. Anand Kumar Pandey. He's a senior cardiologist and director of the Department of Cardiology at Dharamshila Hospital in Delhi. Welcome, both of you gentlemen as well. I'll begin with you, Dr. Pandey. Let's first start by, directly looking at the problem here and trying to understand, one, what are the percentages in terms of when we're talking about the increase in cases vis-a-vis both diagnosis and the cases which are reported of heart disease amongst youngsters? How much increase are we talking about here, and why is it happening?
So very rightly said, there is a large number of patients which we are seeing at very young age. So when we are doing our DM in cardiology, we had majority patients who were beyond 50 and 60 years of age. Those disease has shifted to very younger age. And not only a cardiac disease, but you look at diabetes, you look at hypertension, you look at lipid profile, obesity, physical inactivity, all they are compounding to a cardiovascular disease. I will add more to these things, as smoking is very common. Smoking, then food supplements. Then you look at the lifestyle, hurry, curry, worry, pollution, adulterated food, and prolonged sitting, lack of sleep. They are all adding to a very young age. People are getting heart disease. 50% of patients who have heart disease, acute heart attack, they have sudden cardiac death. 50% they don't reach hospital. So I think it's a really alarming. The youngest patient which I had an angioplasty in my career was 19-year-old boy. I mean, not even his life had started. And he had a massive heart attack. He was a smoker. He had a genetic tendency, that's positive family history. So if you club these risk factors, a positive family history, smoking, diabetes, hypertension, physical inactivity, lack of proper diet, nutrition, and I think ignorance is very important. We are totally lacking preventive health checks.
Okay.
We have no concept of wellness. Actually, we are only into sickness industry. We have to promote the wellness and preventive health checks to prevent such cardiac arrest and such cardiac deaths.
Okay. Also, let's understand a bit more about the general term is heart attack, but a cardiovascular disease is a gamut. So what are we looking at actually? What are the major areas which can be cause of concern in terms of symptoms or in terms of what we need to watch out for?
So very important is that the majority of patients, they ignore the symptoms. And I can say that 50% patients, they mistake their heart attack as an indigestion or gas. They have some chest discomfort, which is retrosternal, then they have some burping. And first impression to patient is that they are probably gas. But my always education to patient is that anybody who has a chest pain, going to the jaw, chest, both arms, going to back, they are sweating, they are perspiring, they are feeling extreme weakness, exhaustion. Sometimes the patient says that there is a feeling of impending death, actually, he is not going to survive. He cannot walk few steps. Unexplained indigestion, there is no reason that you have gas. Let us get at least one ECG. Let the doctor say that you don't have cardiac disease. You should never diagnose yourself that it is a gas. And 50% patients, they come, by the time they come, they have massive heart attack, their heart functions are diminished, they are into heart failure. So I think the index of suspicion, public awareness program like this is one, like this program, and going for ECG is a minimum requirement to prevent surgeries.
Okay. So fair enough. Self-diagnosis is something which should not be done by people. But 2-3 points, and Dr. Shikha Sharma, I'd like to bring you in here, as Dr. Pandey was pointing out, the concept of wellness. And the concept of wellness also very closely involves what we eat, how we eat, what kind of food are we taking in, and the lifestyle as well. Sedentary lifestyles are one of the basic reasons, as Dr. Pandey was referring to.
Absolutely. If you see the change in our food habits, let's look at number one, sugar. The sugar consumption globally has gone up 10 times, more than 10 times actually. Now sugar, if you see, it causes inflammation, which is another cause of heart problem. And inflammation leads to diabetes also. Inflammation also causes many other electrochemical changes in the body, in the blood pH changes. So sugar is one leading cause of imbalance within the body, which imbalances insulin, which imbalances other things. Second thing, if you see, we are eating more and more refined food. Now, in my own terminology, I call them two kinds of carbs. One is an express carb. The moment you eat, it will convert into sugar very, very fast. And 95% of this kind of carb is converted to fat, which is the post-digestive impact. The second kind of carb, which is actually coming from vegetables or dals or low glycemic index foods, those are not being consumed. After the Industrial Revolution, most of the food which we are consuming is either wheat or white rice, and both of them, if it's consumed continuously, even in Ayurveda, though I'm an allopath doctor, but when I looked at Ayurveda, it was very clearly written that white rice and wheat should not be eaten regularly because it will lead to medhrog, it will lead to fatness, it will lead to obesity. So if you see, because of the Industrial Revolution, the production of wheat and rice went up phenomenally. The production of wheat, the production of millets and other traditional grains went down. The consumption went up of all these high glycemic index foods. So the third thing is convenience foods. Today, a lot of diabetics don't even know that when they're having a namkeen biscuit or a salted biscuit, it's still sugar because it has white flour, which is like an express sugar, which will convert into sugar in the body. When you talk about arrowroot biscuits, and there's a very common brand which makes light biscuits, so-called light biscuits, and it's given in hospitals. And the patient is thinking that this is a light biscuit because it doesn't have sugar, it has light sugar, and it has arrowroot powder, which is going to convert into sugar in the body, as I called it, an express carbs. So I think fundamentally nutrition education is not something of a specialization. It should be taught in every school, every college, because that's our user manual of this body.
Okay.
I mean, we are born with the body, we don't know the user manual.
But one refrain with the younger generation is that we're still young. We can eat what we want. We're not into that ripe old age where our metabolism perhaps won't support what we're eating. Is that also a sort of a myth which needs to be broken?
I completely agree with you. In fact, many years back, the whole mindset was, and I was speaking at a conference and somebody from the exercise fraternity said that why should we stop sugar for kids, because this is the age they'll eat, because in any case later on they can't afford to eat. That is the wrong psychology. See, if you are young, I'm saying even if you're 50 and your metabolism is good because you're exercising, you're doing everything, you still have to choose healthy, because I would say eat almonds, have cashew nuts, eat pistachios, have a whole grain biryani or a whole grain pulao, have a brown rice pulao. But why do you want to eat bad food? Why do you want to eat food, the moment you eat it, it's going to steal calcium from your bones? Like for example, if you eat sugar, for absorption of sugar and for transportation of sugar, calcium is used because it's part of the gateway. So your body, by eating sugar, is going to steal calcium from your bones, and your bones are going to become hollow because it's stealing calcium. Because when you eat plain sugar, for digestion you need vitamins and minerals, which is not there in sugar. So it's going to steal from your reserves. So what happens is there are certain foods which give you something, where they are net positive nutrition, and there are certain foods which are net negative, because for digestion you will end up using your vitamins, your minerals, your amino acids, which you should have been actually using for building the body rather than for transportation or for assimilation, for absorption. So that's the problem.
Okay. Before I go to the third panelist, one interesting question, and that many people would want to know is if sugar is so bad, then what do people with a sweet tooth do then?
Oh, there are plenty of things. Like, for example, you can have molasses, you can have honey, you can have jaggery, you can have fruits, you can have raisins. Like, for example, in good old days when sugar was not so commonly used, when they had to sweeten something, they would put jaggery or they would use dates, you know, like they would boil dates and use the crushed portion to sweeten drinks.
Okay.
And it was far better. You know, it's like when you have sugar, it hits you. It hits you very hard. And when you have dates or when you have raisins, it comes like slowly the sugar goes up.
So basically the underlying part here is that go for natural sweeteners, natural substances which provide you the sugar for those who have a sweet tooth or would require. Mr. Ranjan Ghosh, I'd like to bring in here now, major issue is sedentary lifestyle, not being fit enough or not being motivated enough to stay fit. As Dr. Pandey was also referring to, that the idea of wellness and the idea of wellness also includes staying fit. So is that one of the major reasons you believe amongst the youngsters, the reason behind the rising cases of heart attacks or other cardiovascular diseases?
I do believe that there is a lack of guidance amongst the youngsters, right? At what level? What should be their target heart rate while exercising? Suppose at the initial phase, they have to be in the fat burning zone or the aerobic zone, but they are working out in the anaerobic or the VO2 max zone where the intensity is very high. So that will actually lead to more pressure on the arteries and vessels. And multiplied by, if the vessel or the artery in the past, there is some kind of an injury or inflammation which causes plaque formation. So commonly I can say that if there is suppose for your viewers, I will try to make them understand. If there is a lump or suppose a pimple inside the artery, on the inner walls of the artery, and then the person is working out on a higher intensity, he's doing very high intensity of workouts, then what happens? It leads to that rupture, or it can lead to that rupture of the wall. And suppose only if it is suppose 30% of the blockage, so that can within second it can become 100% of the blockage.
Okay.
Once the artery ruptures, wall of the artery ruptures. So it is very important to work out within the prescribed intensity. So, there is in particular in the gym industry, all the trainers who are certified, they know that they have to follow a Carbonen's model. So Carbonen, it's a formula given by a Scandinavian physiologist. So that defines that according to the age, what should be the target heart rate, and the person has to work out within that kind of a target heart rate.
And how common, Mr. Ghosh, how common is this tendency amongst the fitness enthusiasts, since you run a gym as well and train people how to do exercises? There must be youngsters also amongst your clientele. How common is this phenomena or this trend amongst young fitness enthusiasts to go overboard?
It is high. It is very high. So they want a very good physique in a very short period of time. So that is the root cause of all the problems. Because fitness is a continuous process, and it cannot be achieved within a short period of time. Everyone has to understand this. Any shortcut will lead to problematic areas, and proper guidance is a must.
And it's just not about exercise. It's about the supplements as well, Mr. Ghosh. Am I right?
Yes.
So it's about the supplements as well.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Ghosh, I'm saying it's not only about the exercise regimen which has to be followed, but it's also about the supplements. Most of the times we see, youngsters or fitness enthusiasts focusing more on, supplements to augment their physique.
Exactly. Supplements, many people, they prior to their workout, they try to take pre-workouts. Now, suppose that person is having an cardiovascular problem, history of a cardiovascular problem, and he's taking that pre-workout and then going for a workout. So that the risk will be multiplied. So while coming to the gym, that person has to clearly state to the trainers that I also have a cardiovascular problem. I have these many problems, and design my workout according to them. So it is all about speaking the truth, right?
Okay.
So any kind of a problem, the person has to clarify at the very initially only that I do have a problem, historical problem of cardiovascular ailments, and that's why no kind of a pre-workout definitely is suggested, or any kind of a thing he shouldn't take, because that will multiply the risk.
Okay, fair enough. Let's take the medical opinion on that as well. Dr. Pandey, how much do you think is the contribution of the overdoing the exercise regimen, or taking supplements as well in the younger generation? Because we have heard about cases about people, youngsters, middle-aged, people who have straight away landed in the hospital from the gym only with heart attacks.
Very right. So first, I'll add some few points to Dr. Shikha Sharma, which I think is a very great as far as nutritional knowledge is concerned. So it is not the meal which you take, it is when you are taking. What is the meal time actually?
Okay.
Biological clocks should be respected. Majority of patients who are youngsters, they have a very light breakfast, they have a working lunch, and they have a use unhealthy junk dinner, which is adding to their bad lifestyle. That is one. Second thing is that, as Mr. Ranjan Ghosh said, see, I will narrate a story. I had a patient who was just 27-year-old. He came to my OPD with his father for consultation. I thought his father needs a consultation, but it was reverse. He had a massive heart attack. He was gymming. When I said, you look too fit, your biceps is too good. He said, sir, I was taking a lot of protein and steroids. I think we have to really form a guidelines for all the gyms. I'm not denying that they are doing a great job, but what diet they are giving, what supplements they are giving, are they giving the steroids or not? Because the steroids are causing real havoc to the people.
Okay.
Most important, which I want to highlight, is that, see, what we are seeing as physical health actually. We totally forget mental and social health. When we talk of health, health is basically a combination of physical, mental, and social well-being. The stress is playing a huge role in patient's health. I think before going for gym, I have seen many people suddenly decide that from today onwards, I am going to start my exercise. I request that all those who are going for strenuous exercise, they must have a preventive health checks before going for exercise. See, all the people who had sudden death, like sudden cardiac arrest, like Raju Srivastava, and then there was a actor in a very famous serial, then Siddharth Shukla, then Puneet Rajkumar. So we know that they were exercising and they died, but we don't know what their numbers were, what was their blood pressure, what was their blood sugar, what was their lipid profile, how healthy they were there. So it is totally unchecked, totally undocumented. So my request is that anybody is planning to go to gym or a regular exercise, first of all, they should go in a very gradual and fashion manner. They should not achieve their target heart rate in a day or two. It should be near 4 to 6 weeks time. That is one. Second thing is that their diet should be very good. They should not rely totally. I always insist that people should take natural food, never food supplements.
Okay.
As long as I am healthy, I am conscious, my teeth are good, I prefer to have natural food. I will have fresh fruits rather than canned and stored fruit juices. So physical fitness, again, I go back. We must get basic profiles. Before going for swimming, before going for strenuous exercise, I should know my blood pressure, I should know my sugar, I should know my lipid profile, I should have a baseline ECG if I am going for very rigorous exercise, because majority of sudden cardiac deaths are there where we had no medical background. I think this is the message which I want to give.
Okay. 2 points from there, and I'd like to bring you in, Dr. Shikha. One is, as Pandey was pointing out, of course it is important what we are eating, but the timing of when we are eating that is also equally important. So, from your perspective, how do we, fix that timing, fix that schedule which is according to our professional life and personal life as well?
See, what time to eat is, in fact, I'm really happy to note that now everybody's talking about it. The first time this I spoke about was 15 years back, because I started researching my own database. We used to get hundreds of patients and all. And I saw that there was a pattern. The patients who were eating before sunset or by sunset were actually performing better in terms of weight loss and other parameters compared to other patients who were not. And that set me thinking, because before that, like, I come from an allopathy background, but in modern nutrition there was no concept of circadian rhythms and eating at a particular time. So I started wondering that how come these people are having a different response? And then I realized in Vedic sciences it's clearly written that you have to eat according to to the sun. And in fact, in certain cultures within our country also, in certain religions, they suggest please eat by sunset and do not eat after sunset. So it is not only important, it is critical. Now, why is it critical? For three reasons. Firstly, at night, the entire regenerative process happens. So all the breakdown which happens during the day in digestion, in skin, in hair, and everything, the regenerative processes are very active during night. So if you are going to eat a heavy meal, that means your body is going to accelerated aging process, number one. So eating at night is actually disturbing your regeneration. Number two, when you eat a heavy meal at night and the stomach is all bloated, you are not able to get adequate sleep. Now, what does sleep do? Sleep is not only about rest. I mean, we only understand sleep as rest, but no, the entire, like, suppose you are memorizing something during the day.
Okay.
At night during sleep, your entire nerve system, synapses will rearrange themselves, will form pathways, will form images. It's like, like when you store things in a computer, there is a data bank, the images are tagged and they're stored somewhere. The text is tagged, it's stored somewhere. So all this happens in our brains at night. Like today, if I say chocolate cookie, you immediately will have an image of a shop or of a cookie where you had a couple of years back. You may even have nostalgia connected with the smell. So all this happens at night, and when we don't get adequate sleep, this entire process is disrupted.
Okay.
Here I want to bring 2 points. The first is our devices are not allowing us to get enough sleep, and lack of sleep is connected to heart attacks, diabetes, hair fall, skin problems, neurovascular problems, and many other issues. So I think even sleep is decreasing over the years, and even the quality of sleep is deteriorating.
Okay.
And sleep, in my opinion, is like food. So there are 3 foods you don't talk about: sleep, water, sunlight.
Okay.
And of course, exercise is how we mold ourselves, how we build the body.
And that all contributes to the mental health aspect as well, as Dr. Pandey was referring to. It's just not about physical health, but mental health as well. We'll bring this discussion to a close, but before we do that, a quick parting comment from you, Mr. Ghosh, since you're a fitness trainer. What amount of exercise is good enough for a general person, for a common man, in terms of ensuring that he or she stays fit? 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, brisk walking, running. What's the normal routine pattern?
Normally, exercises in a course of time, 30 minutes, I suppose, is enough for a person to remain fit in a day. 30 minutes, but it should be every day with 1 day rest.
Okay.
It is enough.
Okay. So 30 minutes
in 30 minutes, the person would be able to exercise all his body parts in 6 days. So 30 minutes is more than enough for me. Not more than that. We shouldn't be overdoing it until and unless we are going to participate in some kind of a bodybuilding competition.
Okay. So that will ensure the physical fitness, ensure that, we're all fighting fit there. Thank you, Mr. Ranjan Ghosh, Dr. Anand Pandey, and Dr. Shikha Sharma as well for sharing your views and insight. As our experts were pointing out, clearly the incidence of heart diseases or heart attacks amongst the younger generation is a cause of concern, and there are various factors: sedentary lifestyle, not doing enough physical exercise, not eating properly in terms of what kind of food we are eating, when we are eating, and also ensuring mental health. All these aspects can be taken care of by us only if we do focus on our physical well-being, our mental well-being, and also the kind of food we eat. We'll come back again with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television and stay healthy. Thank you.